So one thing I did see people mention about this welder is this unique sort of adjustment here. This one actually seems to work pretty well, but they did say that this can be a problem on these, that it's important to keep them cleaned and lubricated with the proper lubricant. See, here we go. This is when I push it all the way up to the top. I noticed this when I was trying it at the flea market. It gets stuck right there. But if you rock it back, then you can get to go back down. So we're definitely going to have to see about that. Yeah, see what's happening there? It gets caught. Takes a little bit of... Seems like that shouldn't do that right there. There might be an adjustment for that. Alright, let's go get my stuff. Well, this is just perfect. I go through a little trouble hauling this stuff out here and it starts to sprinkle. It's fairly warm today. It's in the upper 30s, so it's supposed to actually warm up even more for tomorrow and then turn really cold again and refreeze everything come Tuesday. So, oh well, such is life, such is winter. So let's see, I got that I can weld on. Got my piece of plywood that I've been abusing by using it as a ramp down in the bulkhead. Slide things down. So we'll do a little bit of work there. This is when I first tried out the AC225. This mess on here is from that. So what we're going to do today is, some of those are a little better on that side. I'm just going to try and run some beads side by side right here on this. So let's see, I'm not going to bother prepping that by cleaning it. After all, those 6011 rods, or is it 6010? 6011? I don't know. They're supposed to be able to blast right through any rust. Alright, I really like the fact that I can unplug my leads. That's an improvement over the Lincoln 225 because I can just take the leads off when I'm done, and this kind of just sits there. It doesn't have all that cord wrapped around it, especially if you have extra long leads, which I might, if I want to at some point invest in those. I'll give you a better look here. So what we've got is we've got my ground clamps on the ground, and then we've got a low tap, a high tap, and apparently the way this works, you've got one control here for the current. And apparently the way this works is if I plug in down here, these are my DC ports. I'll get to those later. I'll test AC first. If I plug into the stinger into the low, I read on this chart over here, and it goes from minimum up to 70, 110, up to 180. And then over here on the high, if I plug in the high, it goes from the low is 60 up to the 230. And then this area right here, I can only assume this is the duty cycle. So what they're saying is that this welder, so this I believe would be a downside to this as opposed to the AC225. I believe the Lincoln has a much higher duty cycle, but duty. Anyways, the duty cycle apparently on this welder in the high setting is 130 amps, and then once you go above that, you get a 20% duty cycle. In other words, you can only weld at that for a short period of time before you got to let it cool down and whatever. So yeah, I'm going to have to definitely address what's going on with that. That's going to need a little bit of attention. That's driving me crazy already. And then over here is your DC. You can go up to 70, it looks like you can go up to 80 amps DC, 100% duty cycle. Okay. And then, looks like it tells you here, temporize, no, it doesn't tell you anything about the duty cycle there. There's the model number right there, so I could probably look that up and find out information on it online. Alright, so let's start. Let's see, what do I want? Do I want low? I'm going to try the low tap, and I'm going to try it around, just a little over 70 amps. Let's see. Alright, get my helmet on and go to town. Well, there's no doubt about it, it's working. I'm having trouble seeing the puddle though. I got it set for shade 11. I'm going to try shade 10. This helmet seems to default to shade 11 when I power it on, so I think that might be a little too dark for this. Now I'm going to just restart right there, even though I know that'll cause a slag inclusion, but I'm just testing this out right now. Wow, this is so much easier to maintain an arc with this. Well, I mean, I got 7 things going on here. I'm using a different welder. I'm using brand new 6011 rods. I mean, this just makes it look easy. I gotta get my slag hammer because I want to see what that weld looks like under there. It's been so long since I did any welding. I can't even find my slag hammer. I do know where there's a wire brush. Yeah, the heck with wire brushing. So that's what it looks like. Come on, focus. Hold on. All right, so that's what it looks like. I started up here. You can see I was having trouble keeping my my arc gap correct, and then down here I got a little better. And, you know, not bad. This is more about testing the welder than it is grading my skills. Let's throw another rod in there and see what happens. For my next trick, anyways, what I was about to say was, I think what I'll do now is I'm going to switch the taps. I'm going to switch the connection for the stinger from the low tap to the high tap to make sure it works. And so now, that was at around 70. If I switch it to the high and don't move the lever, I'll be at around 90. So I'm going to bump this down now. Move this lever down. I'm going to try that. Load another rod in the stinger. Okay, that doesn't seem hot enough. So let me bump this up a little bit. That's around the 90 amp setting on the high tap.
that is like really gouging into the metal and not depositing anything on. Something weird is going on there. I don't understand. Alright guys, that's gouging into the steel plate and not really depositing metal. Let me try and put this down to the minimum setting on that. Maybe it's too much current. I don't like that. That's just a train wreck there. It's when I had it up to 90, you can see it was just blasting the steel plate away and making gouges in there. And then when I knocked the current way down, then I was able to deposit, but it's still a mess. And it wasn't. What a difference between here on the right and on the left. Just make sure I'm not losing my mind here. I'm putting it back on the low tap and back to 70 amps, which is the first setting I tried, which seemed to be working so well. And we'll see what's going on here. Now, if atmospheric conditions could be that much of an effect, I'm not sure, but it is sprinkling out here. It's not snowing, it's a fine mist. I'm pretty sure it was doing that when I started. So, let's see. Let's load up another rod in the stinger. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Alright, before I call it quits, I want to try the DC settings on this and see what that's like. So to weld on DC on this unit, essentially all you do is you pull out your ground and your stinger and put them in here. And then of course there's your electrode. I've got the clamp here,
and then the stinger on here, so this is electrode positive, which I think is the more common or the more typical setting. I think electrode, there's a reason why you would use electrode negative versus electrode positive for different situations, but what I want to just do is test it, period. So I'm not going to even weld in electrode negative. I'm just going to do positive to make sure it's working, and then we're going to call it a wrap because it is starting to sprinkle quite a bit here. I'm so frail, I can't be out in the rain. Not only that, but there's a wild card game on right now. San Diego Chargers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Might be fun to watch, probably at around halftime or just past halftime. Also going to get some more video edited. Alright, so now we're going to see what the joys of DC with 6011 rod electrode positive. See what that's all about. I heard good things. That's all I know. Oh, I forgot, because I've got it in DC now. I'm going to move this lever up, because right now that would only correspond to, apparently, that's only going to correspond to apparently less than 40 amps DC. Try that. That's probably about 50 or 60 amps DC. Damn it. Wow. Wow, what a difference. I had a little bit harder time starting the arc, but boy, once I started going, that was smooth. You could even hear it. It sounds a lot smoother. Maybe just a little hotter. Let's try. Let's try, it's about 75 or 80 amps according to that. Whoop, turn it on. Oh, that just makes it look too easy.
Alright, so that is just, that is really nice. I don't mean the beads, I mean, I'm not talking about I'm talking about just the way it works. The DC, I've never welded with DC before, and I tell you, that was, once I bumped that amperage up, had no problem maintaining an arc, and that was just as smooth going as butter as far as I was concerned. You know, this is right here at the end of the hammer handle. That's the one I just did. That was DC positive at around 75 amps. That laid down material real well. I burned through that half of the rod real quick. This right here, this thinner bead, that was with the amperage too low. I believe it was probably only around 40 or 45 amps. So yeah, I'm liking DC positive. Alright, so let's get this thing down in the basement out of the rain. And we're going to call that a wrap for today. Thanks for watching.